You're in a good place now. Relax, breathe, smile. You've entered into your element. The home of origin, the home of intelligence and beauty, where relevant topics are discussed, where what you think counts, and where superior is the norm. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Me? Go ahead. Pick out anything in the room here. I'll lift it up over my head.
Look, no one is lifting anything.
The television.
Hey, welcome back here live on Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. You've tuned into the best show there is on this network. Anyway, I love all the other shows, but you know what? You are in here for some truth entertainment. You know, I was thinking about the other day, I was just driving down the street, you know how you get in the traffic and you start thinking these like deep thoughts and you go, wow. And you think about like waking up that morning. I remember I woken up really early in the morning, and I don't know about y'all, but I have an alarm set on my phone. Okay, so I have an alarm set on my phone, so I wake up pretty early. And, I turn the alarm off, and I kind of lay in bed, and I kind of look at my phone, and I kind of hold the phone way over my head, and I kind of look at it, and I started going to Facebook in the morning. So I start looking at Facebook, I start looking at social media, and I'm telling you, if you wake up on a certain side of the bed, or you wake up in a certain mood, and you see people with their lives just seem so awesome, you go, oh my gosh. You start feeling kind of depressed. You might even feel lesser than. You might even feel even better than others. You got to think about it both sides. You might think, oh, I'm not as good, or oh, I'm better. It's this weird human condition we have as human beings that we're kind of saddled, right, between the desire to be unique, to be original, but we're also yearning all the time to fit in. It's kind of a weird deal, to be unique or to fit in. Huh. Social media has really raised the comparison, I think, because we're constantly comparing ourselves, our lives, to our friends' lives, to our acquaintances' lives, to people we don't even know. I've recently found that, we kind of compare everything. You compare your car, your house, your job, really your outside appearance as well to other people. It's wild. It's an unending cycle of discontent. And sometimes emptiness, it's when it comes to like your house, let's say you're comparing your house. So we compare it by the size, right? The price, the neighborhood. Ooh, my kids go to this school. Oh, well, you have to send your kids to private school because the schools aren't that good? Oh, well, I'm here at ... Oh, wow, you live there? Or what about when you're comparing your cars? That's kind of tricky. It's kind of a tricky situation because you have to compare. You have the whole size of the car. You have the whole, is it a sports car? Is it a sedan? Is it an SUV? And then you also have just the plain other issues that you have to deal with, and then we also compare what? Our jobs. Jobs are an interesting comparison because we find ourselves thinking about, let's say you want the big raise or you need the big raise, and usually the comparison is about the hours worked or the money made. A lot of times we make those comparisons. Oh, they're making all that money doing that. Wow, that must be great. Look at all the respect and power they have in our society, in our community. Everybody looks upon them. And, men and women alike. And I know you're listening tonight and you're saying, I never do that. I never do that. Come on. That's not like me. I don't compare my car. I don't compare my house. I don't compare my job. Okay, let's say you don't compare any of those. So let's just put that in the wash right now. Let's talk about the one thing that most people all compare. And that's their looks. Your looks. You have compared your looks with someone else. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about your outward appearance. I'm not talking about what's inside here. I'm talking about what's on the outside. And I'm not saying you compare it like women and men compare. I'm saying that women and women compare and men compare. Okay, so I think a lot of times you feel better or you can feel worse after making a comparison of yourself with someone else. It's almost like watching the Jerry Springer show. I don't know if y'all have ever watched Jerry Springer. I mean, have you watched Jerry Springer? Have you watched that show? Because I've watched it a couple of times.
Not on purpose. Let's put it that way. I may have accidentally run across it.
And kept it there for the next 30 minutes.
Just because happened to catch it right in the middle of a free-for-all. And
Jerry.
It's like a accident on the highway. It's
like a train wreck.
You don't want to watch, but you kind of can't help it.
God bless our hearts. Yes, I think we've all been there. And anybody that's saying they haven't, come on. Don't lie to yourself. It's just you. It's only you. So be honest, because I'm sure we've all at least watched one episode. And you know what's so funny is you sit there and you say, well, man, I'm better than those trashy people on that show. Man, I'm so much better than those trashy people. I mean, where do they find them? I mean, come on. How much are they paying these people? But who cares? Who cares if you're better? Who cares if you're better than those people on Jerry Springer? Okay, really, who does? The key is simple. It's really not being better than your acquaintances or being better than your friends or even better than the people on Jerry Springer. It's about being better than you were yesterday, but it's also about yourself, right? I mean, that's the key. You know, tonight I have a really great thing going on because I have a good friend of mine, Kevin, here, and I'm really glad to have him in the studio. Huh?
Or Keith.
Yeah, Keith. Sorry, Keith. I have Keith in the studio. My gosh.
Kevin, Keith, you know.
Kevin.
Do I say anything?
Actually, you probly answered a worse.
But that
we can't repeat over the air. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, well, you already bleeped that out, though. So, actually, Keith is a good friend of mine, and I know that would seem kind of odd, but I have actually hung out with a lot of people today. I actually hung out with some really great people out here in Fort Worth, and I actually got to see a good band friend of mine from Florida. They're doing their U.S. tour, Sister Kill Cycle, actually. It's very hard rock, hard band, but it's cool, and I appreciate what they do because they actually follow their love and their passion. And, you know, Keith wanted to join us, and Dano is here as well tonight, and we're all discussing this whole idea of comparing oneself to another. And I know, Keith, I know you've never done it, and I know, Dano, you've never done it either. Compared yourself to anybody else, right?
No, never.
Okay,
never.
Yeah. So that was good. That was a good canned response, right? I kind of like that one. You know, I've never done that ever in my life.
No, I would never do that.
As you can see, Keith's actually holding his hand up like Scout's honor right now. So
Right.
we're going to go with that. So, you know, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this tonight. So, you know when people talk about comparing apples and oranges, right? You see it all the time. You see the cliche on the internet. You see the person holding the apple and the person holding the orange. Or you see it on people talk about it on TV. Oh, it's like comparing apples and oranges. But you know what? That's so true because when you're comparing yourself to other people, it's not a scientific method. Okay, you don't have like the scientific method back there because, you know, between Aristotle and all these other people that came up with this whole entire scientific thought, you know, not to mention this and, you know, gravity and relativity and all, I'm going to compare myself to that person. You know, how skewed do you think that is? So let's go to reality. Daniel, when was the last time you think you've compared yourself to anybody or maybe just your means, your house, your job, or anything like that in your life?
Probably within the last month. I've probably compared myself to other people.
You have?
Yeah.
I think I've done it too. I mean, come on. I mean, we're all human. I've done it.
I mean, because, you know, you're driving down the street and you're seeing people, you know, driving, you know, like a Lexus or something like that. And you're like, well, I can have that car too. Why not? You know, but...
Exactly.
But, you know, it's just the way the circumstances are that, you know, sometimes you fall into a rut and you just can't do it. So, but I don't like to really compare myself to a lot of people because if I do that, then I'm setting expectations that maybe I can't meet.
Ooh, that's a good thought. I hadn't even thought about that.
That's a really,
expectations, yeah. And I don't like expectations because expectations always get you down a primrose path.
Expectations suck, huh?
Hence, day 2 of the 10-day challenge to live your true life. Eliminate expectations because they suck. You know, they really do suck. They're not helping you in any way, shape, and form. And, you know, quite honestly, it's not good to have them because they are not your friend. They don't like you. They're not your friend. So, Keith, Mr. Andrews, talk to me. When was the last time that you...
I probably have within like the last week, to be honest with you. And it comes from what you said, that little blue and white social networking page that seems to pop up a lot. And for me, I get bored sometimes, and it's a habit to go and look at that. And the good thing about it, though, is I catch myself doing this. And, you know, I look and I'll see, you know, everybody wants to put their best. You don't put yourself, you know, like vomiting and excuse me, but like you don't put yourself getting sick in the bathroom on Facebook. I'm sorry, you kind of. You put your best foot forward. You're showing everybody how, you know what I mean? So I look
You're
at that
so
and
true.
go,
No,
yeah.
it's true. It's like let's say, for example, I'm sure a lot of people listening tonight know what they did for New Year's Eve.
Right.
Okay, let's just set the tone. Not one time did you put the picture of you in the bathroom, at 1:30 going, oh my gosh, shouldn't have had those 9 shots. You took the pictures when you got there, and that was it.
Yeah.
Right? That's
So,
it.
Yeah, but it's but like again, I catch myself, and but there have been days where I feel down about that too, and I'm like, or I see somebody taking a trip somewhere I want to go, and it's like you have to just go stop it, and look at what you actually have, because there's people that compare themselves to you too, so.
So true.
Goes
And
both ways.
we're going to talk about that, Keith. We're going to talk about that here later on here in our second half, or actually in our second segment, because we have a lot to talk about that with that blue and white page. So stay tuned, because you know what? Perspectives with Ashley Burgess will get back. You know what? We'll be back. And you know what? We'll be back. You know what? We'll be back. We'll be back in 2 shakes.
I bet you pulled that trick on my daddy in Florida.
He couldn't handle the weight.
Oh, so now you think you're better than me?
You think you're better than him?
Look, let me just state for the record, I think you're both better than me.
Okay.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. The water's warm and there's a swim-up bar. Glass of perspective, anyone? Now, here's Ashley.
What's going on here, man? What about me? Gilmore, I called your number, didn't I?
No, you didn't.
Oh. Well, better luck next year.
Now that wasn't very nice.
Welcome back here live with Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. And yeah, I think a lot of y'all might have actually seen that film with Adam Sandler. And he was saying, as he's beating up everybody in the hockey team, you think you're better than me?
I was going to say, that's kind of a violent start to the segment, isn't it?
Well, this is a violent segment.
Okay.
Because when people think that other people are better than them, it is kind of combative, because you're angry about it, because you're like, why do they do that? Do they think they're better than me? Do they think that they're all that? And, before our break, yeah, Kevin's kind of upset because he's not here. But Keith was actually filling us in, talking about the whole idea of the blue and white social media and how a lot of times it can make you feel kind of like you're comparing yourself, but also you see everybody else doing things. I think a lot of times people look at social media and say, wow, so-and-so got a new car or a new house or a great job, or, oh, look, their kids are so beautiful. My kids still don't have any hair. I mean, like, come on. And Dano, you brought up the whole idea of expectations, and I thought that was so cool because that's part of the 10-day challenge to live your true life. That's day 2. There's only 10 days in it. That's why it's the 10-day challenge, not the 15-day or the 8-day. 10, okay? Easy breezy. So we've been talking about comparing apples and oranges and how it doesn't work because there's no scientific method. You don't know what you're doing. If you compare yourself to somebody else, you have no understanding of what they're doing. You don't have no understanding of their background. You're not in their life. You don't even know what you're comparing. You're comparing one thing you saw, what you saw. Not what reality is. We'll talk about that later because that's kind of deep. So let's talk about this. Is it really a fair comparison? Is there a real fair comparison? Because we're normally comparing ourselves, right, on our worst day. Okay, so usually when we get into the comparison nature, we're comparing ourselves at our worst day, okay? And we're comparing ourselves against others at their what? At their what? At their best day.
Except you don't have a worst day, Ashley.
You get a raise.
I was going to say, about that raise.
Obviously, Bill knows how to play the game here. Yeah, you don't realize that you're doing this because you're kind of upset, or you look at the blue and white social media, or you are on the highway and maybe you're going to work and it's really early in the morning and you haven't eaten any breakfast and you're thinking, man, that Lexus looks really nice. That could be nice. I could like to ride into work with that. That leather, I'm sure, feels really nice, and those seat warmers must be really nice. Instead, my AC or my heat's not working that well. So, we're normally comparing ourselves at the worst day with theirs at the best day. So, have y'all experienced any of that? Because I sure have.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think you can help it. Like whatever your station is, like my goal this year is to find a show where I can get on the air.
And
on a regular basis,
I am
right?
backing Bill in any way, shape, and form I can help you because I
Thank
want you to
very
have your own
much.
show.
I appreciate you.
Yeah,
so
I believe in you.
So what do? I do my homework. I listen to talk shows. I listen to sports talk. I listen to political talk radio. I listen to shows like this, so I can
inform yourself.
Yeah, inform myself.
And get ready
find out
for
what's
it.
out there. And I practice at home. So just so you know, folks, it's not strange. But if you come over to my house, yes, I'll be talking to myself.
He does that anyway, but now he's found a profession that he can do it.
but most of the time it's because I'm trying to practice, and so therefore I'm comparing myself to I'll just pick a name, Rush Limbaugh, who's a famous talk radio show. Well, I compare myself to him, and gee, wouldn't it be nice to have a national show with 20 million listeners?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay,
now you got me thinking. Okay, thank you.
This year, Ashley, they're helping for you this year.
God bless you.
Where's the Tylenol?
I'm taking Advil now, but that's all good. I switched to the orange, but not the blue pill, not the red pill, but I'm taking the orange pill now. But dude, Advil's Tylenol's still okay. Okay. So Keith, you know what we're talking about.
Yes, ma'am. What?
Let's talk. When was the last time you feel, and you don't have to be, I know how things are, but tell us the last time you might have compared yourself in a situation when you weren't feeling Keith 10%, like top 10. You got 1 to 10, and sometimes we're feeling like a 1, sometimes we're feeling like a 5, sometimes we're feeling like a 10. But when we normally compare ourselves, it's between the 1 and 5. So when was the last time you think you compared yourself?
I mean, I don't know the exact date, but I know, I know exactly what you're saying, and it was before, like, you don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. I mean, actually, 2 things just hit me. What you were saying about, when you compare yourself to somebody you don't know what's going on. And then over here with him listening to, Rush Limbaugh and stuff, I think there's healthy comparison, too. I mean, if you want to get better at something, then whether I'm not advocating, I'm not a Rush Limbaugh fan, I'm not saying one way or the other, but to listen to him, he's been successful. So that's what I do, because I also want to get back on the air. As part of, we're all kind of hooting in on your show here to hey, we want to get on the air.
It's
but,
the club. Join the club.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's handshake and everything.
Yeah, but it's like, but honestly, when I was an on-air guy for 20 years ago, whatever, and those movies. I remember like Good Morning Vietnam came out, and I was inspired by Robin Williams. I wanted to be him, and then Howard Stern. Private Parts came out, and I'm still if I could say it on here, I'm still a Howard Stern. I don't have Sirius or whatever, XM, but
we're cool with Sirius.
Yeah.
We can do an endorsement on that.
Yeah, but I know, but as far as the bad day, I've managed to. I think you have to stop yourself. You have to have some kind of way to stop yourself. I mean, that's the stuff you're good at telling people about. So I mean, that's just what I do. I'm just like and also with the blue and white too. I was going to say a lot of people. Like, you got to go, why are they putting that, the selfies and the self-promotion stuff, too? Man, people are trying to show off and stuff, too. So sometimes that just makes me go,
Yeah, it is kind of gross.
Yeah.
I do agree, because sometimes you can really see
I don't fall for all of it. I don't buy it all, so, yeah.
Well, and a lot of times I try to explain also the fact that the truth is not always what you see. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you have your eyes, your two eyes that are in your head open, right? And you're looking at something. Now, what you're seeing is whatever your perspective is. So let's just take a little jaunt down memory lane here. So I remember a long time ago, I saw a situation, and I didn't have like a lot of particular friends my age, like girls that were my age. Most of my friends are a lot older or a lot younger. And I remember seeing like a group of people one time, and this girl had all these girls that were right at her age and all these friends and all this stuff. And I remember looking at it saying, wow, she's got like 12 friends, like her same age, like hanging out, doing stuff all the time. She must be so lucky. And I can't go into the backstory because this person listens to the show as well as other people would know what I'm talking about. But it is not at all what you think is reality. Okay, I'm just telling you, wake up call, whatever your perspective is. Let's say you want more friends your age and you see somebody that seems to have that. It's not at all what you're thinking it is. Okay, it's just our own mind generating this stuff saying, you don't have that, and look, they have it. But you have no idea what they have. I mean, one of them could be their wife. One of them could be their kid. And we won't even go in the in-between, okay? Because this show is a good show. We're a good quality show here.
It's a family show.
We could go on serious and we could take this to the next level, but we're going to keep this right here. So, when we see things, a lot of times we don't really see the truth. We see what we want to see. You know what I'm talking about, Dano. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, you see what you want to see.
Because everybody has their own perception of
perspective.
Of what's going on. Like for example, with like the blue and white page. Like for what you were saying as far as like for the selfies. I think some people probably put those on there just to make themselves feel better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all these likes.
Yeah, they may be having a crappy day. Maybe they just want someone to validate them.
Well, yeah, there's also one other thing, and I'm just going to say this off the side, and this might actually be a thought for some people, but... Okay, start looking at when people take vacations, just as an FYI, and this is something I figured out. When people take vacations and they have only pictures by themselves, they don't want to show you who they went with. Okay, because they're not telling you the whole truth. They're not with their sister, they're not with their brother, they're not with their family. They're with somebody they haven't told anybody they're with. So that's just an FYI. When we come back tonight, we're going to be talking more about comparing yourself and how it's like comparing two cars, and it really doesn't work. We're also going to talk a little bit more about how you don't have all the information and how we're making a lot of assumptions, and in the end, it's all smoke and mirrors. So stay tuned, because Perspectives with Ashley Burgess will be back in what? Oh, we'll be back in 2 shakes.
If I could write you a song to make you fall in love, I would already have you up under my arm. I used up all of my tricks, I hope that you like this, but you probably won't. You think you're cooler than me. You got designer shades just to hide your face, and you wear them around like you're cooler than me. And you never say hey or remember my name, and it's probably cause you think you're cooler than me.
This is Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess on 570 KLIF.
So, Todd, how does one get into the hedgehog business anyway? Oh, it's actually hedge funds. You think you're better than me? No.
Welcome back here live on Perspectives with Ashley Burgess. And, do you think you're better than me? Do you really think you're better than me? I know I've been making jokes about that all night. We've been playing some funny clips, and that was, what was that, Andy Samberg right then. Hedgehog business or the hedge fund business? You think you're better than me? So, when we're talking about being better than, a lot of times when we're comparing ourselves to other people, we can feel that they think that they're better than us. Like, why would they be doing this? And why would they be putting this up? And why would they be doing this on social media? Yeah. So we've been talking about fair comparison. Obviously not when we make comparisons with other people. So let's talk about this idea. And this was brought up to my attention the other day. I was selling a car. And the person I was talking to on the line was saying, hey, well, I used to have a car, the same make, the same model, same make, and, basically the same mileage. And, how do you basically say that this car is worth this when I sold my car previously last year for that? And just like comparing cars, when we're trying to buy a car and making a comparison, it's not exactly correct, okay? The interior of the vehicle will or may be different. Maybe the interior is a certain, production. Maybe it's a rarity. Maybe it's just in way better condition. Maybe it's a cool color you rarely see. Maybe there's different wheels, right? Maybe there's different size tire. Maybe the treatment of the car from the previous owner is a lot better than the other car, or vice versa. It could be many, like miscellaneous factors, if you think about it, that can contribute to the comparison not being exact. So let's think about that. Same make, model, and mileage. Now, we don't do that when we're comparing ourselves with other people.
Now, quick question, Ashley.
Yeah.
Was this your own car you're trying to sell, or somebody, say, you're trying to get back at? Or
no, I
like
actually sold a car last week.
Uh-huh.
I won't go into all the specifics, but I sold one of my cars last week. And, it was just kind of like, I sold it and I love that car. But the point was that there was a comment made about that. And I said, you can't make that comparison. You just can't, because your interior was black and this was red. All this stuff is different. And we don't even go to that extreme when we're comparing ourselves with someone else, especially when we're on social media. And I hate to use the word mileage, but if you're thinking about a human condition, that's kind of interesting too. You don't think about any of that. You don't think about any of that when you're making comparisons on yourselves. The whole scale 1 to 10. 10, I'm feeling beyond great. 1, I'm feeling pretty bad. I might as well not even leave the house. When you're feeling like 1 to 4, 1 to 5, you make comparisons that have no reality whatsoever. You're not even comparing the same car, the same anything. Definitely not the same mileage, definitely not what's in there together. So what about also when we don't have enough information? When you compare life to another, we're always missing information. You see what you're shown. You see what is shown either by physically seeing them in person, or you see what is shown in a picture, but not anything else really, right? And I think in order to have the information, you would actually have to be them. You have to be in their shoes. So, Dano, I think we've all done this before. And it's kind of like you look at, let's say, even say the blue and white social media type pages or other things, or even in person, you see that person and you see what's shown to you, what's given to you to make whatever kind of decisions. I'm not going to say they're rational. I'm going to say to make a decision. We've all made deductive reasoning by that and kind of made bad choices that way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think everybody is capable of making, like, the wrong choice. You know what I mean?
Even, let's say, let's go back to, New Year's. I know a lot of people went to some parties, and a lot of people were calling me up telling me, oh, we went to these great New Year's parties, and the house was amazing, and the couple, oh, my gosh, they're so in love, and it's the best, best family I've ever seen. It's like the Leave It to Beaver family. And then you go, they don't know any of the backstory, okay? But they see these people in these really nice outfits. Let's just say it's red satin, like the kids are wearing red satin dresses, with the gross grain ribbon wrapped around, like their waist, and it's so cute, and a little bow, and they get their hair up, and it's all styled, and they're kind of all wearing a matching shirt, right? And you go, oh, and they got all the pictures of them jumping up to like 2 feet off the ground, like at the beach, all at the same time.
It's also like
Keith's over here, making
me sick.
Yeah, he's looking like he's gonna have a.
I'm not buying it,
and it's true. Right?
Well, it's kind of like the Amen pew at church.
What is it?
The Amen pew. The one up front.
The Amen. Tell me more. Tell me more.
The people who get up front. Amen, Reverend. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus.
The
but they want to be seen.
Yeah. Okay, so they're all doing it because they're because they were sinning the night before.
You ever heard the song by Ray Stevens? It's called the Mississippi Squirrel Revival.
Wow, we're gonna have to the Mississippi Squirrel Revival. That sounds like a good one. We'll have to get back to that because that sounds like something we'll have to play that next week. We'll have to do that.
Okay, I'll put it on the list.
Put it on the list because that's something that's interesting.
It's in queue. That's a radio term, folks.
It's in queue. I don't know if we'll have to use the dump button. I don't know what kind of cuss words are in that. But anyway, I don't know what kind of moonshine they're drinking, but. You know what I'm saying. Okay, so Keith, you know what I'm talking about. You've seen that where you see the pictures where they're all jumping 2 feet off the ground all at the same time. Oh, and it's so cute. It's festive, and they're in Florida. They're in Tampa or wherever. And they're like, this is our family vacation. And they have every pictures like that, different ones.
I would wonder about those people. I don't know. I just think there's a sense of reality, and as far as every day comparing ourselves to other people, that's about our own insecurities. But. Back to the blue and white. Can we say Facebook? I'm sure we can. We talk about that. Though.
I think you just did.
I just did.
Can we? Okay, you're supposed to ask permission after.
I don't use Twitter, and I don't.
But, you don't use Twitter?
But I remember when that first came out.
I use Twitter.
I had a MySpace account, and
MySpace.
Because I'm a voiceover guy, and I've done acting things. So I go, oh, this is cool. This is a cool way to promote myself. And then I started getting invitations for Facebook, and I'm like, why do I need Facebook if I have MySpace? And but I got on Facebook, and my first thought was like, I don't want people seeing, I don't want people looking at my stuff and this and that. And here we are. I mean, 8 years later, and I'm as guilty as anybody putting, if I go to, I've been going to San, I'm dating somebody in San Francisco, and I go out there a lot. And I mean, I take pictures just because we're happy and it's a beautiful place and whatever. But
that's okay. That's okay.
I guess I'm kind of boasting, and there's probably people who have God forbid unfriended me because they're so sick of seeing it. But
he's
I'm
so in love.
Well, I mean, but I'm realizing I'm part of the problem too. But
you have to be part of the solution, not the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but okay, it's one thing. Okay, so Keith, you brought up a good brought up a good point.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to hide your happiness. I'm not saying you need to sit there and if you're in front of a really amazing scene in San Francisco and you're with the person you love. I'm not saying that you should go find a good alleyway with a dumpster and y'all take a picture with a big frown where you have something over their hair where you're gonna punch them. No, we're not. We're not saying that. I just think that a lot of times, like you said, insecurities, and I think insecurities on both sides, and I think that's something because it's like we make a lot of assumptions when we compare. And I think that also it's kind of like we hyper stress that in our life. It's like we have to to fill in the blanks, to fill in the blanks of our perspective, because it's cool to be happy. You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to say, hey, I'm happy. I'm in love and I found somebody that gets me and it's all good. But it's a different thing, I think, to and you know what? And we don't even have to go into that argument because we're not actually figuring out why they do what they do. We're trying to figure out ourselves. So they can go plaster anything they want up on their, okay, now we're saying it, Facebook or Twitter or whatever. But we have to be grounded in ourselves to say, you know what? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. I want to be happy for them at the point that, I hope that they're really in love, and I hope that things are good, and God bless them. And I'm going to like that. Or I'm going to make a comment and say, looking good, you know what I mean? Or, hey, because you care, because you go, I really want the best for somebody, instead of comparing with them, because there really isn't any comparison. I mean, a lot of times we lose ourselves in this, I want to be, what do you think, you're better than me? You think all this good stuff? But we're going to talk more about this, because a lot of times it's all smoke and mirrors, and really that's what it's all about. And we're going to talk about what comparison really is and how it really is the thief of absolutely something. But you won't know that until our next segment. So stay tuned, because you know what? Perspectives with Ashley Burgess will be back in, 2 shakes.
Now where will you sleep, you Ice Queen? You think you're better than me? You're not better than me.
I could lift you up. I could show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be. You could be my luck. Even if the sky is falling down, I know that we'll be safe and sound.
Get in here and give us your perspective. We're listening. You're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Burgess.
Why didn't anybody tell me? It was bolted down.
I still thought you could do it.
Me too.
Fellas, look, I gotta go.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Go. Put us all in the hospital, and you ruined our business with all your macho head games.
I didn't ruin your business.
Yes, you did.
I'll see you later.
Hey, I can't see the TV.
Here.
You think you're better than us, don't you?
Hey, welcome back here live with Ashley Burgess here on Perspectives. We are having a great night. You know what? You think you're better than me? You think you're better than me? Yeah, I love that. I love that from Seinfeld with the Mandelbaum. Mandelbaum is great. You think you're better than us? You think you're better than my dad? So we're talking about comparing yourself to other people tonight. And, a lot of times it starts as like a kind of a comparison. And then you start saying, man, they think they're better than me. And we compare ourselves with everything. I mean, especially like things like cars and houses and kids and wives and husbands and all that stuff. And our looks, the way we look, and our career. And, and also like our life dreams. Like a lot of times the things that we really work at, or the things that we're trying to work out, or the things we want to work at, or the things that we think about working at, is we see someone else doing it and we say, wow, okay, what's up with that? I mean, they think they're all great. They're always doing something. I mean, why can't I be like that? And so a lot of times we put these high standards, but it also is maybe about expectations. And Daniel, you brought that up earlier, and I thought that was awesome. And Keith, you brought up the whole concept of, the whole Facebook thing and how a lot of times we make unfair comparisons. And Billy, I really think that a lot of your thought process on the whole comparison to apple oranges has something to do with this. And I think a lot of times it's smoke and mirrors. I think that it's not always what you see is not what you get. And when we were on break earlier, just a little while, y'all gotta actually listen while we're on break, because it's actually really interesting. I would actually say that it's a little more interesting.
So I should keep the microphones on? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, actually,
that might be dangerous. Actually,
that could be. It could be dangerous. I mean, if we actually put this on satellite, it wouldn't be that dangerous. But it could be dangerous. Potentially dangerous. But for right now, we might actually do like a little movie thing, a little thing on the side, some like little video thing where you can actually see us, like behind the scenes.
Yeah, stream the video.
Yeah, stream it. That'd be cool. I mean, just kids under a certain age can't watch. I don't know. Okay, so Keith, we were talking about on break. I mean, there's a certain age requirement, needed. I don't know. You just gotta watch your kids. I mean, your kids probably know more than you do. So what am I saying? So Keith, you were talking about on break. You're talking about a situation with your career. Kind of elaborate a little bit here.
Well, it's kind of funny, and it was just a point of me torturing myself. I work downstairs. I work for our company. We work downstairs, as we say, for the fine Cumulus Broadcasting Company, and I have been in. I've also done some acting stuff on the side. I kind of went down the acting road a little bit, did some commercials and trained and all this stuff and liked it. And then radio kind of called me back a couple of years ago. Well, I saw it was more of a steady paycheck, and I like the job here, and I do a lot of those commercials.
Radio, come back.
Well, I mean, when I was a little kid, my dream was to be on the air and stuff. So, but also the acting stuff was fun. So anyhow, we work where the studios are. If people don't know, is right at the American Airlines Center, the big old big stadium here in arena here in town. And as I walk to work every day, they have the jumbotrons out in front, and there's this commercial on that gets almost played ad nauseum, just on repeat. Every time I look up, it's there.
Nauseum.
It's a commercial now. I did not get an audition for this, but I have the same agent as this guy, and he's a very nice man who I've worked on some stuff, so I have nothing against him per se. But it's like this weird. I was having a few months ago. I was just kind of feeling down about my life, and I want to do more and whatever. And I'd look up and I'd see this guy doing this commercial, this American Airlines commercial. And even when I didn't want to look, he's just always there. It was like taunting me, and it was just.
It's like in the grocery store. Yeah. It's on the TV. It's like you're at the gas station. It's on that little bitty TV when you're trying to pay with the credit card right there. You're like, golly.
Yeah. It's like he was live on the jumbotron, and he's looking right
he's looking
at
you, saying, "This
Keith,
could be you,
Keith,
loser.
This could be you. This could be you. This could be you."
And all he does is, he could be listening. It's just a matter of looking up the stewardess and giving this look, which I can do. So it's just
see, that's the thing, and you're thinking like, why am I not there?
Yeah,
why isn't it mine? I could do that. I could look up the stewardess in a certain way with my eyes, batting my eyes a certain way.
It's a union commercial too, which kills me.
It's union.
I've done stuff for America before. It's like,
union. For people that aren't in a union, union means that you make more money when you're in a union, and when it's a union deal, because you get like hourly and certain things, and then overtime and and then you get certain
they use
kickbacks.
It again, yeah.
And then you use it again, and it's good. You can actually live off the residuals, but I'm not union right now, so that's all cool. But I think we understand what Keith's trying to say is that you see something like over and over again. Like you see it.
It's a reminder.
It's a reminder that you're not there. Do you want to be there?
But then you can also use it as motivation too. You know what I mean?
Motivation is good. Yeah. Motivation is a good thing.
But when you're having a bad day, it's a kick in the.
It's a kick.
It's a kick somewhere.
It's a kick. It really is, because motivation is a good thing. So this is a good thing. You brought up a good point, is that a lot of times when we're trying to compare ourselves in this situation, you can use it for motivation instead of anger. But we got to be really good about our emotions. We got to handle up on our emotions in these situations, because otherwise our emotions will get the best of us. And also, the whole thing is that the grass always is greener sometimes, but also the fact is that I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors sometimes, because even in that situation, that guy, and I'm not saying this is particular, but he could have, I don't know, he could have like one great commercial and that's about it. And he's over there thinking, gosh, if I could just work some more, you know, but I got that commercial that goes over and over again, and they're barely paying me at all. They pay me 2 cents each time it goes over there, and I think they played it about 150 times a day, and I got to take my wife and kids over there to see it because that's the only place you're going to see me at. So I take my wife and kids over there every weekend. We have a lunch underneath the, you know, picnic underneath the big, you know, Trinitron. And,
honey, look at Daddy on the big TV screen.
Well, we already saw that one, Mommy. Is Daddy going to do a new one? Shut up, kid.
I feel better, thank you.
And that's kind of how it is. It's like, you know, and I think a lot of times we do that to ourselves. So when do we stop comparing ourselves? When do we stop comparing ourselves to others? And when do we start being free again? When do we free up our life? Because I think it's a big freedom thing. I think that once we stop comparing, it's like freedom. It's like a bird. And you know, Theodore Roosevelt said it really well, and I think we talked about this last week, is comparison is the thief of joy. Comparison is the thief of all joy. You know, because comparison steals our joy, our happiness, and it keeps us like constantly needed to compete with others on a game with no rules, right? And really no contestants. There is no, you know, I want the prize behind door number 3. There is no prizes. There is no game show. There is no contestants. It's just us fighting ourselves in the end. And it's not really about them in the first place. It's right. It's about finding our first step to happiness and understanding just how wonderful our life is and just how great we have it. I'm not going to sit there and go into like the the first world problems and stuff. I'm not going to go there, okay? I'm just not going to do it to us. I'm not going to dumb down the listenership. But in reality, we do have it pretty good. I mean, for the most part. Even if you're dealing with issues with work, even if you're having trouble making ends meet, if you have your health and some other things, we got to keep it going. We got to actually see ourselves and realize that when we try to compare ourselves, it's not helping us at all. It's actually taken away from us because we're spending more of our energy comparing ourselves and putting it into what we believe we should do.
But you can't help that, though.
It's a human condition.
Right. I mean, you're always going to compare yourself to somebody else.
I think you will to a degree, but I think if you can make it for motivation, like what Keith was saying, or to limit it down and to recognize when you're doing it, because sometimes we don't actually recognize we're doing something until it's too late.
And I also thought, this is totally unrelated, how kind of creepy it would probably have to look at myself every day as I came into work. So, you know, I try to put a positive spin on it.
Yeah, it would be kind of weird, like you're like getting up there like 7 a.m. and go, oh my gosh.
Are you trying to say you have a face for radio?
That's not up for me to say, but
that's what I always say to people. I go, I have the look for radio.
Stewardess. But I practice that look as I walk.
You practice it? You're like, hello, I'm going to practice this look. You know, but it's true. We all do those kind of things. I mean, okay, so Bill, you were talking earlier about, you know, you use Rush Limbaugh. I mean, kind of comparison. But, I mean, we don't have to compare using him, you know, exactly.
I mean, it's just a, you know, he's a famous example. You know, a lot of
people
know who he is.
He's a famous example.
I'm not saying I, you know, agree or disagree or, you know, neutral or whatever. It's just, you know, his show happens to be the #1 rated talk show. In the U.S.
He's on one of our stations.
Yeah, he's actually on our sister station, WBAP.
There you go.
And but I'll also listen to one of our other sister stations, The Ticket.
I'm glad we plugged all this stuff.
You know, and I listen to you know, especially.
Let's stop this right now. Okay, let's stop this. Okay, I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting paid here by Rush Limbaugh, so let's not keep going. You know, and neither am I getting paid by Radio 1. So okay, so let's kind of tag and bag. Let's tag it and bag it this whole show because this has something to say about stuff. In life in general, we make comparisons. We do things. We do it because, yes, we may be insecure. We do it because we want something different. We do it because we just wonder how life would be. Or, you know, how would that be? You know, and I thought you brought up a good example, Dana, when you said you were driving that day and you saw that Lexus and you're like, you know, that'd be nice. And I think it's like different things we do that with. I think it's with all different types of things. And I think we do it because, you know, life is hard in a way. I mean, it's hard to stay yourself. It's hard to be you. And you gotta kind of take it every minute of the day and say, you know what? I love myself. I'm not perfect. But you know what? I'm gonna really sense when I'm comparing myself, and I'm gonna do my best to make my life good and to be happy. And I think that's all you can do. So, guess what? Perspectives will be back next week, and we're going to help you with happiness, health, and joy. Don't take your joy away. Perspectives with Ashley Burgess will be back in 3 shakes.